Yes, hello everyone. This is the first edition of our program called Let's Talk About It. As we said previously, this is going to involve young people because we believe as younger ones we need to be heard, and there are issues affecting us as young people in this country that we need to talk about. And today, a very interesting and fascinating topic that we're going to talk about is whether the Gambia has a future for youth in this country, whether the Gambia has a future for young people in this country. So I have four gentlemen here. In my on my far right, I have Ibrahim Mbai. He's a student and also a very good debater as well. Then close to me, I have Musa Tamba, a champion debater for that matter. And also, as you can see, they are all very young people. As I said, we are dealing with young people. Then to my far left, you have Serif Jallo, a champion debater as well, and a student as well. So as you can see, close to me, I have my own brother that is Lamin Kamra. He's also a very good debater. But here, what we are going to do is it's going to be more of an interaction, a conversation, a very healthy argument that we are going to do. So before going further, I would want them to give us their submission and the introduction of their argument. So to start with, I think you guys are going for the motion, right? Yes. To start with, then I'll go to
they are the ones going for the
Serif to tell me what he think about this particular topic. Yes.
Good morning to our beautiful viewers or to our beautiful listeners. Welcome back, as he alluded earlier on, to the first episode of our Let's Talk About It. So, the motion that preoccupied us here today is to debate on the proposition which states that this House believes that the Gambia has no future for the youth, in which we are the proposing side.
Assalamu alaikum to our wonderful viewers. Once again, my name is Lamin Kamara. I am indeed glad having been invited here to serve as a speaker of the proposition that says the Gambia has no future for the youth.
Well, as you can see, that was a great introduction there from my proposers. So we now go down to the opposers. As we see, we've said previously, it's going to be a healthy argument. So, Ibrahim, can you please introduce what you have for us, please?
Let's talk about it, and solely we shall talk about it. I am Ibrahim Rai. I'm one of the speakers today on the motion which reads this House believes that the Gambia has no future for the youth, in which I am saying a big no to, and then I'll come with my reasons, very tangible as to why I stand firmly to say the Gambia has a future for the youth. Thank you.
Yes. Assalamu alaikum and a wonderful morning to each and every one of you. I go by the name as Musa Tamba. And obviously we are here to talk about a very interesting topic, which is the Gambia has no future for the youth. And then in my stand as at the opposing area, I'm saying that yes, the Gambia has a future for the youth. And then I believe I am with the concrete reasons.
Well, as we have heard this introduction, wonderful viewers, then we now go down to the debate proper. So we want to know, Sirif, or who is going to start first? I think I want you to tell us, why do you think the Gambia has no future for the youth? What is your your argument on that?
Knowing the problem is part of solving it. So first of all, before saying that the Gambia has no future for the youth, we need to identify who is a youth first. That is first, according to the Gambian Youth Council, a youth is an individual between the age of 15 to 30. That is 15 to 30 years, that individual is termed as a youth. But also, according to the UN Charter, it says a youth is an individual between the age of 18 to 35. So you can see the range is not that much huge. The other thing that we need to understand, that is, who is a youth? A youth, a future. A period of moment of speaking or writing and time regarded as still to wait or still to come. That is what we refer to as a future. But first of all, before breaking down this particular proposition, we need to first identify what are some of the challenges that are faced by the youth in this country that make us to say that the Gambia has no future for the youth. Because we are saying this because the Gambia does not possess the characteristics that value us to be saying that we have a bright future for our youth. First of all, let's look at the problems that the youths are facing in our country today. The problems that they are facing in this country today cannot be overemphasized. You look at it. One, we can say the high rate of unemployment. But then you break this down, the high rate of unemployment is very huge. And there are a series of factors responsible for it. Now let's look at this. High rate of unemployment. What are some of the factors responsible for unemployment? One, it is lack of or inadequate or unsupportive way of our education system. Because if our education system was actually correct or in a good manner, what would have happened is, once an individual have gone through after 15 years of school, that individual wouldn't have wait for to be employed, but then the individual would have self-employed him or herself. But that is a problem here. You compare ourselves to the outside world, that is in Europe. For them, once an individual is 18 years, that individual is termed as an adult. But for us here, by 25, that is the time you start. That is due to the fact that our educational system is a problem. And this, unless and until our educational system is designed in a good manner, we cannot have a future for our youth. Hence, they are the people who are involved or who should be involved in the decision making of our country. You look at this reference in accordance to the UDHR, that is the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 26 states that quality education boosts youth employment. It reduces inequalities, closes the gender gap, promotes well-being, and contributes to sustainable development. So education here is a key factor that needs to be considered or that needs to be developed if we want to create a future for our youth. But now let's look at our educational system in details. That is, our educational system here still now is a funds of what? Theory rather than practical. But now you compare these to the outside world, they are now into more practical than in theory. But then what we do here in the theoretical aspect does not actually contribute to national development, because it does not contribute to critical thinking, but instead what it promotes is cramming. And this cramming is a temporal issue. That is why in class they might teach the individual. We have different types of cattle. We have the Sotoko Gudale, the Ndama cattle, and issues like that. But take that guy to where the cows are and ask the individual to identify it. The individual cannot actually do it. So this is a sign of those people, once they come into power, they cannot deliver to expectation, because what they were taught were the theories and not the practicals. So this is one aspect of it. I would allow my partner here to also give the other points involved in it.
Again, going down to
yes,
yes,
yeah, I think my people are getting into it as well. Well, that was a great deliberation there from Sel Jallo. As we have heard, he has mentioned so many things, but as we have said, this is going to be a conversation. So we would come back and interrogate and see whether some of the things that he said are actually the fact or not. Because we want to, we want to stick to the fact and say what he has mentioned so many things here as well. So we want to know how he could back up those claims that he made. He's talked about unemployment and many other things, the school system, the education system. So before going to the next proposal, I want the opposing team to tell me something about what he said and also give us some of their points. So Ibrahim, can you please, you have heard Serif talked about so many important issues regarding youth, Gambia not having future for the youth. So what do you think, or what do you say to that?
Yeah, thank you very much. I've listened very keenly. Sarif was talking most on the side of our education system. But I don't think so. That is a problem because now you will not go to a village that does not has a primary school. Most villages in this country are having schools there, and then students or children are advised to be in school. And then we can see that most of the villages, their children are all going to school, and they are trying by all means to acquire the best education. But I only want to clear up something that is going wrong. That is, we will agree that the future of this country or the Gambia has no future for the youth if the youths are not ready now. That is my position now. It will only be, yes, we will not have there is no future for the youth when the youths are not ready. But when we are ready, there is future for us, because there are so many things that the government, not only the government, that's going in this country, and it signifies that there is a future for the youth. Coming down to the education sector now, the reason why I say the Gambia has a future for the youth. Now let's go into the education system. Young boys and girls are trying day in, day out to make sure we have the best education system in this country. And then let me refer you back to the Gambia College. youth occupied, the Gambia College. Over thousands of students at the Gambia College, most of them are youth. So, and later these teachers are sent to various schools to go and teach people. And then being a youth, and I am sure it will be something very interesting that, if they are sent to schools, they'll be teaching people on basics or things that it will signify that the Gambia has future for the youth. And then I will refer you back to Madi Jobate, a famous human rights activist, who said, a country whose education system is doomed, that country is next to nothing. So the efforts that is going in this country, in our educational system, the government and other respective bodies are trying day in, day out to make sure we have the best education system, and that is being improved now. We have seen so many improvements in our institutions. So these are some of the things in our education sector that is showing that yes, indeed, the Gambia has future for the youth, because youth are trying to take up responsibilities in the educational system. So I'm sure this point holds as of now, and then we look forward to the discussion.
Well, it seems Ibrahim does not agree to what said concerning the issue of youth. Not being the educational system not being practicalized. Then let's see what Lamin has for us. Lamin, what is your take on that?
Yeah, we still go back to the discussion because we say we're going to have a discussion, and let's have a discussion, and a healthy discussion for that matter. This was on the 6th of July, 2022. I attended SOSA's 17th Executive Council at the University of the Gambia, Brikama campus. And there I met with a young Pan-Africanist, a patriotic citizen and a nationalist, who once put it to me that he was one time, during his studies asked by a white whether everybody is rich in the Gambia. And this is a silent but most powerful question, that what is the problem wrong with this? What is the problem with this country that deters it from advancement and development? By looking at the population and the size. What are the youths doing when it comes to development? What are the youths doing? What are the responsibilities that the youths are taking? The Gambia don't have future for the youth. For us to understand this, we first have to identify some of the characteristics, some of the features or attributes that shows that a country does not have future for its youth. One is high unemployment rate. My opponent and my co-debater here actually talk about it. Two is high rate in which crime escalate. Understand? And then three would be, re-employment of retired servicemen and women. Understand? Four would be, neglecting industrialization. Understand? Now going back to high rate of unemployment. This is something that is open to eye because every Gambian would attest to this. That the major problem that is affecting the youth is unemployment, is high unemployment rate. Understand? We understand that the Gambia, you invest in our education system. We understand it. But still now there's a problem with our education system. If you don't know, I will tell you that. It has a problem. One is curriculum deficit, and we have uninterrupted basic education. Now this curriculum deficit here would mean that the Gambia is not up to 21st century education system style. My co-debater have talked about that we are not graduating from teaching in a theoretical aspect. We have to graduate from that. It's about time we graduate from that. And start opting to practical way of teaching the students. Because if you look at the mind of a human being, it's created in such a way that when things are presented to him or her in a more practical way, the understanding would come easily. But if it is in a theoretical aspect, you are forcing the mind to, think and bring out pictures, trying to understand. Yeah? So the Gambia investing in our education system. Now this is the problem. The Gambia, we have youths. Yeah? We have youths, as my co-debater said, that from the age of 15 to 30. Understand? From age of 15 to 30. Now, you would see a person will go to school and the person will graduate and go to university and graduate with a degree, and at the end of the day, they don't have a job. And according to Afro-Barometer survey, that shows that the Gambian youths, they acquire more education than their elders. But at the same time, they are likely not to be employed. Employed. So there is that, high rate of unemployment, day-to-day affairs. Because we have to understand one thing here as well. Now, who are those that are involved in this? We have the youths and we have the government. The government, this is how they actually define it. This is how Michael Gober went on to actually define government. That as a body of persons that are empowered by the constitution to carry out the administration of the state. It doesn't say a body of persons. It says body of persons, which includes the 3 arms of government. So you are there, you should serve the best interests of the people. People are paying tax. Why are you not creating employment opportunity for the youth? Now, I will stop here. In my subsequent talk, I will try to give recommendations or ways in which we can actually solve some of these problems.
Well, thank you very much. That was a great deliberation there from him. So we want to know what the opposing side thinks as well. Musa, you have heard what Lamin said, and Serif, your guy also talked about something very important. So what is your objection to what he said?
Well, I completely disagree to what they say. And at some point, it's like they are all talking about the same thing. But they are not trying to come up with things that are convincing enough. And Sirif talked about the issue of the rate of unemployment, but then he failed to tell us the actual percentage of youths that are employed in this country and the percentage of youths that are not employed in this country. And according to the Gambia Demographic and Surveys Health, almost 60% of Gambians are employed. That is the youths, And also, when you talk about the youth, it has to do with from the age of 15 going to 24, according to the United Nations. Okay? And in the Gambia here, almost 21% of the citizens are from the age of 15 to 24. And from the age of 15 to 30 is 37.2%. That is the youth. Okay? So now looking at this, almost we have youths who know that they are employed already. That is 60% of youths in this country are employed. And when you talk about unemployment rate, I wonder, what are you trying to put across? The government is doing its utmost best in order to ensure that we have job opportunities or jobs in this country. We've seen so many public corporations that are established by an act of parliament in this country. So we are talking about the government or the Gambia has no future for the youth. Had it been the Gambia has no future for the youth, do you think that they would have established these public corporations? Example like the GRTS, you have the official NAWEC commune, and etc. These are created by an act of parliament so as to ensure that youth in this country have jobs. The thing is, the youths are not willing to work. But them saying that the youths have, or the Gambia has no future for the youth is not, something that is true anyway. So when you talk about the educational system also, you talked about the educational system, saying that the educational system is a very bad system. We are saying that the Gambia has no future for the youth, and not the educational system is a very bad or poor system. And also, I disagree to what you've said with regard, that is the educational system. Looking at it, we have primary schools, we have senior secondary schools, the Gambia College, the GTTI, the UTG. So what next do you want? And in these schools, you realize that we have so many teachers who know that they are doing their utmost best in order to ensure that the teachers, the students understand what they are being taught. So in doing so, you realize that now the government is trying to mold our children to prepare for the future. And we know that, as the saying goes, I can say, that if you want to corrupt a country, corrupt its educational system. We all agree to it. So I am sure that the government or the Gambia has a future for the youth. And that's my submission.
Well, that was a great song. It's like this thing is getting interested as we go. But now, I would love to ask you questions. To the two groups. First, you people talked about the country not giving practical side of education to the people. Now, when you talk about the practical side of it, what exactly are you talking about here? The practical side of education. When you talk about the system, what practical education do you think Gambia should have for the youth in order for us to have a future in this country?
The practical aspect we are talking about is an educational system that promotes what? Critical thinking. That critical thinking will lead to what we call innovation, and that innovation will lead to what we call production. Do you understand? So this innovation that we are talking about is innovating things. They talk about something that is we are having an education, primary school, upper basic. That doesn't matter. Having the number doesn't matter, but the quality in it is what matters. Why is it that an individual will go here, learn after 12 or 15 years of education, that individual will still wait for government to employ that him or her? Why is it that the individual cannot utilize what he or she had learned in school to make job or to create job for him or herself? In the West, they are creating job for themselves. Why is it that for us we cannot do the same thing? It is not, just take a look at this. A normal senior secondary school student who graduate at the age of 18, go to the University of the Gambia, for the case of medicine, study for 7 years. Engineering, the individual will study for 10 years. So 10 years plus 18 years, that will give you 28 years. Meaning you only have 2 years more to serve as a youth. That is based on the Gambian Youth Council, which define a youth as an individual within the age of 15 to 30. He also made mention of something which actually is not true, I would say. That is the population of the youth in the Gambia here currently, 63.53% of the population of the youth are all below 25 years. That is according to the Gambian Youth Council. So if we are having 63.53% of our population all below the age of 25, so why is it that, and they are claiming that we are having job opportunities, why the retardation or why the depletion of our economy? Because the high rate of employment try to boost the economy of the country. If you are telling us that 60% of our population are all employed, then we should not also have a high rate of dependency. So that is a point there. And then, as the Chinese put it, teach me, I forget, show me, I remember, involve me, I understand. So the individuals being involved or put into a system of education, they are trying to tell us that we are deviating from topic, but we need to understand something. That is here, education is the key factor here. Because one way to create a future, they put it here, that is the fastest way to corrupt a nation is to corrupt its educational system. And the fastest way also to build a nation is to boost its educational system. So we are trying to say that in order to create a future for our youth, we need to boost and support our educational system in a way that promotes what? Critical thinking, innovation, and then production. When this happens, then all of our sectors will try to develop. Take a look at this. Our agricultural sector, for example, the peoples at the farm there are all 35 and above. Why is it that the youth are not happy to go there? It's not a matter of the youths are not willing to work or they are not ready to contribute to national development, but because they are not getting the support that they need. Why is it that every Gambian student, when you go outside and then ask the individual, what do you want to work? They will tell you office work. But no one will tell you that I want to go to the farm. It's because that place is not supported. And now we are saying that agriculture is the backbone to every developing nation. And now we are not supporting our agricultural sector. The agricultural sector is dominated by the old people. Why are the youth not going there? So now, those old peoples now, the small number of individuals, because they said now over 68% of the people in the farming sector are all individuals, that is 35 and above. So those people trying to work, obviously they will not be energetic or have that power compared to the youth. So when they work, harvest their product, those things would have been utilized to other issues. But now look at it. For a case of groundnut, the seed would have been utilized in order to make soap, for example. That being made, we need to get factories that will try to process that. And that would have provided a job employment or a job opportunity for the youth. That field. The groundnut itself should have been changed to oil. That also would have created a job opportunity for the youth. That also is failing. So there are series of things that we would have got from our agricultural sector and all other sectors, provided that we have what we call the innovation. That is, we innovate and then think some of the theories that we learn in school. Though in school we will be told that the uses of groundnut, it can be used to make soap, it can be used to... So now it can be used to make this. Why is it that we cannot make it? But still we depend on other countries to give. And one way in which a country can develop is when it can compete in the global market. But then our Gambia, we cannot compete at the global market. Because of even the groundnut, because it was the only commodity that we tried to export outside, they are trying to tell us now that our groundnut is infected with the aflatoxin. That is trying to deplete the quality of our groundnut. So now a country that cannot export but depends on importation, how can that country create a youth for the future? Meaning your economy is depleting. Now when your economy is depleting, how are you creating a better future for your youth? So I believe there are those points where actually they do not make sense to me actually.